Constitutional Court rules on interfaith marriage petition, and President Jokowi comes to Bali. Stay tuned for details. Selamat malam. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is February 3rd, 2023, and my name is Bruce. What is the weather like? Whoa, terrible, terrible, terrible. Huge storm last night, and it has been incredibly windy today and just not very pleasant. And we're about to get some more rain here in Singaraja, just waiting for it to arrive. And currently, wind speed is 14.7 kilometers per hour. The humidity is 77%, and the temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. We are in the rainy season and the gray skies. I don't mind the rain so much, but the gray skies during the day, kind of depressing. And so let's get into it. Still no freedom for interfaith marriages. The Constitutional Court on Tuesday upheld ambiguous provisions in the marriage law that often hinder interfaith marriages and make it hard for couples of different religions to formalize their union. The court rejected a petition by a private citizen that requested that it review the law towards annulling three provisions which regulate that marriage is legitimate only if it is conducted in accordance with the individual's religion. The law neither admits nor prohibits marriage between people of different religions, but the three provisions noted in the petition often foster resistance to interfaith marriage. This is because religious institutions often do not allow their adherents to marry a partner of different belief, and this has hindered many interfaith couples from getting married here. In the court's ruling on Tuesday, the bench argued that the law authorized religious institutions to declare the legality of a marriage and that the state only dealt with registering marriages that had been deemed legitimate by religious institutions in order to guarantee marital rights. The justices concluded that the provisions named in the petition did not harm religious freedom or the right to marry and found a family. According to the Constitutional Court Justice, the provisions in question do not contradict the principles that guarantee the right of worship and belief, equality before law and government, the right to live and be free from discriminatory treatment, as well as the right to form a family and procreate. The petitioner is a Catholic from Papua who had to cancel his plan to wed his Muslim partner of 3 years because of their different faiths. He sought to secure greater legal certainty for interfaith marriages, saying in his petition that lack of clarity in the three provisions violated his right to marry and found a family. He said the marriage law encouraged people only to marry people from their same religion, and that this violated the Constitution, which guaranteed the right of every citizen to choose their faith and practice it. His petition also stated that marriage registrars, as representatives of the state, should not refuse to register a couple's marriage on the grounds that the husband and wife were of different faiths. In their arguments presented at the court, representatives for the legislature and the government rejected the petitioner's views. And you may remember last year I talked about two different cases in Java where the courts there instructed the civil registry to register the marriages despite the fact that the couples were of different religions. However, the Constitutional Court is the highest legal body in the country, and they said that marriages have to be validated by religious institutions. And if a religious institution refuses to let two people of different faiths marry, that's the way the situation goes. According to one of the constitutional judges, they said the Constitutional Court has provided the constitutional basis for the relationship between religion and the state in marriage law, that religion determines the validity of marriage while the state determines the administrative validity of marriage within the legal framework. So in this case, the Constitutional Court is saying that marriage is not a right. It's a prerequisite to founding a family. So the judge said that based on a formulation of Article 28B, paragraph 1 of the 1945 Constitution, there are two rights that are explicitly guaranteed: the right to form a family and the right to maintain offspring. The next phrase shows that a valid marriage is a prerequisite, not a right, to protect the two rights previously mentioned. In the case, the state follows up on the results of the interpretation of religious institutions or organizations to ensure that marriages must be in accordance with their respective religions and beliefs. So, lovers of two different faiths have basically two options. One is that one of the partners converts, or they can go to another country outside of Indonesia and get married and then register after that. And there have been no problems with that. The issue there is that for people that don't have the financial ability to leave the country, take a trip, say, to Singapore to get married, well, that leaves them only one real option, which is to convert. And there have been many conversions, well, not really serious conversions, but ones just for formality's sake in order for marriages to happen. And the Jakarta Post had an editorial attacking the decision, saying that it is a restriction on people's rights and does not contribute to diversity or recognizing the situation as it exists these days, where many people of different religions do want to get married. So not good news there. What about the president coming to Bali? Yes, the president has come to Bali. Well, the president being in Bali has been all over local news, and the big thing here is that he was up here in Buleleng, not just down in the tourist areas, but up here. The president inaugurates Rupiah 820 billion Tamblang Dam in Bali. Tamblang is down that way. You head out from my house, out to the east, you get to Kubatambahan, and you can make a turn to go up to Kintamani, and you run right into Tamblang. Nice little village. So the president inaugurated the Tamblang Dam, which is located, of course, in Buleleng. The dam cost 820 billion and was first started construction in 2018. The president said, that's a lot of money, 820 billion rupees. The dam has a capacity of 5.1 million cubic meters and an inundation area of 29.8 hectares. And with this capacity, the dam hopefully will irrigate 588 hectares of rice fields. The president said that the dam's purpose is to irrigate rice fields. The second purpose is to reduce flooding. And if you've been up in that area, you know it's kind of dry right over there. And the Tamblang Dam's name has been changed to the name of Danau Kerti Buleleng Dam, having the meaning of purifying and glorifying springs. And the Tamblang Dam is also supposed to be a tourist attraction. And so if you're up in the north, you might want to take a trip over there. So from Lovina to here, it's about, 8 kilometers, 9 kilometers, add another 15, so 25, 25, and a nice little drive around the north coast. It is beautiful up here, of course. If you haven't been up to the north of Bali, you're missing something. Stop by for a day. Don't move here. So the president was here in Singaraja at the Attire market, and my granddaughter Zoe wanted to go and see him. Please, Grandpa, I want to see the president. And so we took off to see him, but he had just passed as we hit the main road. There was a big, huge traffic jam going from Jalan Patimura and getting into the Jalan Diponegoro intersection there. And he was gone. There were still some soldiers left around, and fire departments, fire truck came by, and some police cars and military vehicles, but we missed the president. The president had some kind words to say for the governor, Jokowi, Lauds, Bali governor, over mandatory traditional attire every Tuesday and Thursday, and I've talked about this before. According to the president, this policy proves the local government's support for the development of small songket, or traditional woven fabric industry. During his second day visit to Bali, the president visited the Jembrana Weaving Center and learned about various types and patterns of Balinese songket. He was all over, right? In Jembrana, down in Gianyar, Ubud, up here in Buleleng. He was at the market here. He was up at the shortcut up here past Gikit, and he, I guess, also opened that part, point 8 or whatever. I don't know about all these points for the shortcut, but he was up there doing some ceremony as well. So he was impressed with the governor's mandate for government officials here in Bali to wear traditional clothes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The regulation was for preserving, protecting, using, and empowering creative cultural heritage as the identity of the Balinese people. This next segment is something that's gotten a lot of coverage as well. It's got some people concerned about how this is going to work out in terms of people working in the tourist industry. Sacred areas, mountaineering in Bali will be arranged. The governor has emphasized that the use of mountains as sacred areas in Bali will be regulated. Activities other than ritual and disaster management will be limited, according to the governor, including how high in the mountains you can climb. He said when used in the context of visiting, traveling, it must be regulated how high one can climb so that it is in harmony with holiness. In a proposed regional regulation, it is to protect sacred areas in Bali, such as mountains and lakes and temples. The regulation was made in response to the phenomena of tourists violating the sanctity of these places. So if you were following this channel last year, you know there were a number of incidents of people having sex, taking their clothes off up in the mountains, and well, it got the governor upset as long with a lot of the Balinese. The governor said, considering the input from the Selingi, mountains and lakes and sacred areas in Bali were designated as sacred areas in the 2023-2043 Regional and Spatial Planning Plan, RTRW, for the province of Bali. He said the Selingi have decided sociologically and cosmologically that there is a decision that mountains and lakes are designated as sacred areas. The governor said that natural tourism activities such as on the mountains will still be able to happen. However, several sacred mountains in Bali such as Mount Agung and Mount Batur will regulate what activities can and cannot be done on them. The governor said it's being calculated and studied. What is certain is that ritual ceremonies are permissible, disaster management is permissible, but tourist activities will be regulated. The discourse on limiting activities in sacred areas immediately received the attention of climbing guides in the areas of Mount Batur, Bangli, and in Mount Agung Karangasem. If the weather is friendly, hundreds of climbers will usually hunt for views of the sunrise, especially on Mount Batur, where the altitude is more friendly for novice climbers. The governor assured that the policy of regulating mountain sacred areas will not kill the source of livelihood for climbing tour guides. Parisada Hindu Dharma Indonesia, PHDI, has welcomed the plan, and according to the chairperson, Bali's sacred areas must be protected both spiritually and abstractly through rules and rituals. Some of the sacred areas regulated in the 2023-2043 Bali RTRW regulations, sacred mountain areas covering the slopes to the top of the mountains in Batur, Baratan, Lake Buyang, and Lake Tamblang. Now, as I said in the article here, the tour guides have been upset about this, and they're saying, look, yeah, it's important for us to protect sacred areas, but we need to make a living. And this is how we make a living, guiding people up in the mountains. And so how is this going to work? And there are some politicians who said, when asked about this, I don't know. I'm not sure what the governor is doing here. We have to wait and see. And so things are a little vague. Gee, is that a surprise? We'll have to see how this works out. But one of the things that I read in the many articles that came out about this was that some parts are going to be fenced off as off limits to people. And so how that's going to work out, we're just going to have to wait and see. So if you are a climber, stay tuned. I will be covering this story as more details unfold. And I mentioned last week, Arak Day. Arak Day was held on Sunday, and there was an event in Nusa Dua promoting the traditional liquor distilled from the sap or fruit of palm trees. The governor said, through this Arak Bali Day celebration, I urge Bali people to utilize Arak for proper reasons, such as traditional rituals, health, and culinary applications. It is firmly banned, the governor said, to drink Arak to get drunk and ruin your health. Made with nira, flower extract of coconut or sugar palm, Arak is fermented and distilled by craftsmen in many villages across the island. The distinctive liquor has been part of Balinese life for hundreds of years. It's present at religious ceremonies, imbibed at celebrations, sneaked into public entertainment events, which these days include beach clubs and concerts. Incidents of public intoxication, alcohol poisoning, and even death due to improperly prepared arak have made it somewhat infamous, especially among tourists. The governor said Arak Bali is a traditional Balinese distilled liquor that is our cultural inheritance and needs to be protected, maintained, empowered, marketed, and utilized to support cultural activities and empower the economy of the community. The governor continued that Arak is safe as long as it's consumed properly. The governor claimed that he himself consumed Arak every day, noted that a mix of Arak and black coffee was his favorite was his favorite daily supplement. I can have 5 shots of the mix every day, he said, and I never get drunk. It's good for our bodies. So you heard it from the governor. In 2014, the central government placed alcoholic drinks such as Arak on its negative investment list, essentially banning foreign investment in the nation's already flagging liquor industry. And while some applauded that as a way to limit the bad effects of alcohol, in regions with long cultural heritages of alcohol consumption, resistance remained. In 2020, Bali passed a local regulation providing a legal framework for the distillation and distribution of Arak. The regulation requires independent Arak makers and farmers to market their products through a cooperative that partners with selected factories to mass produce, bottle, and package the liquor. Last year, the Education, Culture, Research, and Technology Ministry recognized the liquor as a form of intangible cultural inheritance. And so if you're having your 5 shots of Arak a day with coffee, you're helping preserve Balinese culture. Isn't that a good excuse? And that is it for today. I'm hoping that the weather is going to get better again soon. If anybody's used the online portal to extend your VOA to get your second 30 days, leave a comment about how it worked. Is it easy? How did the payment go? I think people would be interested in hearing about that. I would anyway. Some other things in the news that I haven't covered, a lot of people complaining about the increasing cost of villas. And you know, I hate the word villas. It seems so pretentious to me. But complaining about rising costs. And I saw some places for rent, just kind of looking around after I saw these complaints. I kind of looked around in some places. Wow! Some of these places are, well, let's say they're pretty basic and they're going for $20 million a month, 15, 20 million a month. Amazing. Have you noticed the prices are going up for rooms, for houses, for villas? For whatever? Are the prices increasing? I know prices for food have started to increase. My wife was complaining today about the increase in the cost of rice. I know the cost of vodka went up at my local vodka guy. Okay, thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.